Like and subscribe and click the bell icon to get new video updates.
6 points. Lloyd'S bomber Bake misses the point. Leon Cameron deserves more credit, and AFL flips fans the bird again. Gold Coast's finest ever win. A stunning comeback from St Kilda, Leon Cameron's farewell as coach, and a fourth win on the trot from Port Adelaide made this an action-packed week of footy action. So of course, the big story of the week was Czechs notes Essendon, after another disastrous loss saw the pitchforks come out for the third time in about 5 weeks. Get ready for plenty of bomber mentions across the footy media landscape for the next few days. Concerningly, there was yet another scarcity of quality games this weekend, with all bar the Saints Geelong match, and maybe Hawthorn Richmond if you believed in the Hawks in the last 2 minutes, truly going down to the wire. So instead, we had to enjoy the little things, like Patrick Cripps rucking against Tom Green on Sunday afternoon, or West Coast's Bailey Williams morphing into Eddie Betts. So let's do what Fremantle couldn't for 2.5 quarters on the Gold Coast, and get to the 6 points. 1. Lloyd's bomber Bake on the right track, but missed the point. Chances are if you caught anything from footy media this week, it was Matthew Lloyd's comments on the Sunday Footy show about Dylan Shiel and Luke Parker. After Parker mocked Dylan Shiel and suggested he didn't go in hard enough to stop a Swans goal, the Essendon legend's comments nicely summed up what many in the media have pointed to as the key reason for the Bombers' dismal loss: a lack of aggression and ferocity. "I would have ploughed straight through Parker here, got him to the ground and said, 'You will never, ever treat me like that again,'" Lloyd said. "I'd cannon into him, 'You never, ever want to be walked over in life or disrespected in any way.' I thought Dylan Shiel was disrespected in a way you never wanted to be treated as a footballer. I would have ploughed straight through Parker here and said, 'You will never ever treat me like that again.'" A passionate at Matthew Lloyd 18 says the lack of response to Luke Parker's taunting of Dylan Shiel shows the Bombers are being walked all over. Number 9 AFLSFS at channel9pic.twitter.com/ WWKNG8ZTF2, Footy on 9, at Fooch on 9, May 15, 2022. That moment, the lack of any response to James Rowbottom flooring Zach Merritt with a high bump, and the Dons laying just 30 tackles for the evening, makes a pretty compelling case that the Bombers just weren't hard enough on Saturday night. But saying the Bombers needed to make a stand just isn't enough in modern footy, and it misses the point to call for it. The days of the square-up are, thankfully, over, and I don't think I'm alone in saying it's a good thing Parker didn't have to look out for a straw elbow or straight-up king hit for the rest of the night. Gone, too, are the days when a team can win a game just by, to use the old adage, wanting it more. Yes, the complete lack of any defensive application and intent from the Bombers was a big part of their loss, but ploughing into Parker would have done nothing except maybe satisfy fans wanting to see the Swan pay for his mockery. To use the most famous example, Hawthorn got belted by 74 points in the infamous line in the sand game against Essendon, mostly because the Hawks were more concerned with fighting than actually playing footy. For a more recent example, Port Adelaide's plan to terrorise Larchie Neale in a game in 2019 saw Brisbane wallop the Power and caused Ken Hinkley to be laughed at by just about everyone. The Bombers could have rushed Parker all they liked, it wouldn't have stopped the Swans waltzing out of the middle, finding space everywhere and kicking goals with gay abandon. Would pressure, and defence, and discipline have helped? Absolutely. Aggression? Probably not. J.Y.E. Caldwell's inspirational act running back with the flight in the third quarter was greeted as an exception to the criticism of the Bombers' night, but it proves that the players aren't incapable of single-minded determination to win the ball. A pattern for the Bombers in recent years has been thus: an embarrassing lose, followed by a week of intense media scrutiny, then a surprise response in the next week or two. To start 2019, the Bombers lose 2 straight games in disastrous fashion, then came out on Friday night and knocked over Melbourne. Last year, they did the same, then thrashed St Kilda. There's every chance they'll give Richmond a real shake on Dreamtime night next week. I just wish the focus had been on the tangibles, Tackling pressure, two-way running and game plan, which, by the way, looked back to being lethargic and turnover-heavy after last week's success with something totally different against Hawthorn, rather than a former great advocating for the team to show some fight in the old-fashioned way. 2. Leon Cameron doesn't get the respect he